remember a while back when I told you we were going to cover a Gladys Knight album?
I remember it starting out, it was going to be a Gladys Knight single.
That's right. We were just going to cover Midnight Train to Georgia.
Yep.
Had no intention of doing the entire album.
See what happens when you let the record play?
Seriously.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best albums that we've talked about.
True story.
Well, today, we're going to kind of take a similar journey. Because today we're going to cover the Isley Brothers 3+3 album. Now, in all fairness, you have been telling me to listen to Ernie Isley as a guitar player for years.
Yep.
You have been. You were hip to the fact. However, I just knew the Isley Brothers from their hits. And they've been having hits, or they had hits, for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What, back to, 57 or something like that?
Yeah, easily, man. I mean, so here are some of their hits that they had in the 60s. Twist and Shout, made famous by the Beatles.
And also, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is how our generation knows it, because when they mimic the Beatles version in the parade.
Right. So that one. This Old Heart of Mine.
Yep.
Okay. It's Your Thing. Do What You Want to Do. Okay, so they had some big hits in the 60s. And they were on the Motown label during the 60s, most of the 60s. Didn't know if you knew that or not.
Makes sense.
Okay, so they were on the Motown label, which means they didn't get to bring in their own musicians. They didn't get to have, their family members play with them.
Because they had Berry Gordy and the Funk Brothers.
Right, and they felt like they were being pushed aside for the other big hit makers of the day. Temptations, Four Tops.
Supremes, and yada
right.
yada.
And they're like, hey, man, we're the Isley Brothers. And so when their contract was up, they left. They took off, signed with Buddha, and had their own subsidiary, T-Neck Records. So they're like, look,
smart.
We're controlling our fate. We're controlling our destiny. Okay.
That's interesting, because Gladys and the Pips were also on
Buddha. Yeah, they took off from Motown too.
Yep, same thing.
Absolutely. Okay. And we can see the parallel, right?
Thank goodness.
The two groups.
Yes.
Because both bands were super prolific. Gladys Knight and the Pips and the Isley Brothers. And for my money, both of them, from 1969 to 1977, they could not miss. I'm not saying they always had their biggest hits. They were just great.
They were on. They were on.
And it doesn't surprise me, at least for the Isley Brothers, because in my mind, from 1969 till 1977, every single album is a must-own, or at least 90% of the albums they released. And they were releasing, like Gladys and them, they were releasing like 2 albums a year, man. They just kept pumping them out. It was really an amazing sign of, being prolific.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's one of the things as a musician that I miss. Not that I remember much of that period, but reading and learning about it, of just how the prolificness, everyone was cranking out an album a year, if not more.
If not
easy.
More. Right. Just had so many songs to let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, the album we're talking about today, 3+3, this album was their first platinum album.
Yep.
It's considered one of Rolling Stone's top 500 albums. It was number 8 on the Billboard album chart, so it's a top 10 album. And more importantly, throughout the Isley Brothers' career, you had Ronald, the lead vocalist, Rudolph, and O'Kelly Isley.
Yep.
Okay, they were the background vocalists.
The 3 oldest brothers.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. But on this album, they officially made their brother Ernie.
Marvin.
Hold on.
Oh, my bad.
They made their brother Ernie official, and he's the guitar player. Guitar extraordinaire. They made their brother Marvin an official member on the bass. And I think he was their cousin, right? Chris Jasper?
In-law.
In-law. Okay. So like their sister married him or something?
Something like that.
Something like, who knows, right?
But they all grew up together.
Right, and he was playing the keys. He was playing the synthesizers, the organs, the pianos.
Yes.
Right, he was the key man. But unofficially, ever since they left Motown, those guys were laying the music down on Isley Brother albums. And incidentally, that's when their albums became must-own.
Yeah. Yeah, because now you have an organic, cohesive band. So they're producing a real sound. Not that the Funk Brothers didn't, but that's so polished.
Not just that, but it's their own sound.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Boom.
And look, man, I love what the Funk Brothers did. I love what the Wrecking Crew in LA did.
Of course.
The Stax musicians. But to have your own band producing your music in the studio, warts and all.
Oh, this is the dream right there.
Man, and this album right here, when they finally made these three family members official members, broke it all up for them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, broke it wide open. Excuse me.
And
they
crazy.
didn't break up.
Because I used to say 3 plus 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
But yeah, 3 plus 3, exactly. It was the three older brothers plus the three new ones. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I didn't even get that until right now. I've been listening to this album for over a year. I was like, that little light bulb went off when you said that. I was like, oh, wow. We're so dense, man. We're so dense.
Yeah, sometimes just a hat rack.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how the album got its title, as we all just learned out. Okay. And unfortunately, O'Kelly Isley, he's no longer with us, died
Correct.
in 1986. You know, right after their peak had withered away.
Heart attack.
Yeah, man, that's sad.
And Marvin also.
Oh, is Marvin gone too?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure about that?
Diabetes, man.
Okay.
2010.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you didn't pull a Muskillins on me, get me all sad for nothing. Anyway, so we chose this album because it was the first official album with Ernie Isley, right?
Yes.
So let's jump into it. And the first song on side 1 is a huge hit, their biggest hit of the 70s. Who's That Lady or That Lady?
Yeah.
But parts 1 and 2.
2.
Because, man, I don't know what it is, but like soul and funk artists of the 70s, they always like to put parts 1 and 2 on their releases. The Isleys do it a lot. James Brown does it a lot. Marvin Gaye had a huge hit with Got to Give It Up Part 1. Okay. But he also had a Part 2.
Yep.
So he did it. I mean, it was just what they were doing. What do you think the reason for that is?
Because once they established the song and had the groove and it gets to cooking and it extends, and like, oh, well, it's like a whole new song, but it's still part of the song. Yeah. So like a movement, they would call it back in the day.
Right. And not just that, but it was also one of those things where a song was too long, man. You got 3 minutes to make your mark on the radio.
Yeah, because plastic back then, it was.
And so if you're going too long, they were like, look, we'll make the first half the radio hit, but for the fans who buy the album, they'll get the whole thing.
Oh.
So, yeah. And look, man, this was a huge hit, okay? It was their first top 10 pop single since 1969's It's Your Thing.
Yep.
Okay? And it reached number 6 on the pop charts, number 2 on the R&B charts, hit number 14 in the UK, so it's establishing them in the UK as well.
Yes.
This whole album actually did, because they had 3 top 40 hits in the UK from this album, and we'll talk about those later. Dude, this song ranked number 357 on Rolling Stone's list of 500 greatest songs of all time. So it's not like you and I just discovered the Isleys and said, okay, we're the only ones giving them props.
This is true. Even my daughter pointing this song out to her when I was playing this album, and she's like, who are the Isley Brothers? And I said, yes, you've heard them, you just did not know it. And I don't know what commercial currently is on the air. It came on and they're using Who's That Lady in the commercial. Now, I'm just going to say it now.
Say it now. Get it out.
Because like I told you back in the day, Ernie Isley, listen to him.
No, this is the song to talk about Ernie Isley.
This is the song. So, knowing about Ernie Isley, and then one day I'm in the car or I'm at my parents' house and hear an Isley Brothers song, and I'm like, wait a minute, Prince do a song with the Isley Brothers? He's sitting in? It's like, oh snap, that's Ernie Isley. And then another light bulb went off. I was like, oh wow. I did not realize that Prince worships the ground that Ernie Isley walks on.
Right.
If you ever wonder where
makes
Prince
sense.
gets his sound, listen to this, hit play, boom. And also, I gotta say it, track one, solid in your face, out the gate track, this is it.
Oh, without a doubt, man. And it's the big hit. What we've noticed with a lot of the albums that we've talked about, they usually hide the hit within the album itself. Track 3, track 5, track 8, somewhere around there. Nah, man, they just said, this is our big hit. Listen to it.
Yeah, they just kicked the door.
And if you like it, come along for the ride. No, you're absolutely right. But, man, Ernie just, I don't know what's going on. It just has such a unique tone, not just on this song, but throughout the whole album, where instantly you know it's Ernie Isley playing. But before I listened to this album and every other Isley Brothers album since 1969, because I'm crazy like that, just realized, oh wait, this guy can play, he's unique. You know, I don't buy the guitar magazines. I don't look online for, you know, greatest guitar player ever. You know, it's usually your Van Halen's, Jeff Beck's, Clapton's, Jimmy Page, Hendrix. I got to see where Ernie Isley's at, man, because it's almost like when you unleash him, can't be stopped.
True.
But if the song doesn't call for him to be unleashed, he's fine to stay in the pocket.
Oh, yeah, he is a consummate professional. He is the epitome of a musician. The great thing about Ernie Isley, he's a musician's musician. Because like you said, the magazines you named and whatnot, he's in them more now. You ask a guitarist, you say Ernie Isley, if you want him to faint and fall over like a little teenager seeing Elvis, you just, hey, Ernie Isley's here. Whoa, we'll fall out. That's the type of effect he has on us.
Now, a lot about what we're talking about is like the part 1. But part 2 has some unique musical things going on too, because they let Ernie go for part 2 because he's doing extended guitar solos in this song. Like I said, this is the Ernie Isley Tour de Force. Right?
Yes.
Okay. But look, man, around the 4:30 mark, because this song is 5.5 minutes, around the 4:30 mark, well, now we're going to pop in with a little organ solo. And we're going to let Marvin get crazy on the bass a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to talk about Marvin later on. But, you know, you just have all these different elements. And then I thought, man, this song has like an African shuffle rhythm. And I couldn't figure it out. Well, I started digging on Wikipedia. And the guy playing congas on the song is Rocky Dijon. And I don't know, he has an African name. That was his like official like nom de plume. I don't know, like whatever they call. I don't know his African name. But this dude was recording and playing with the Rolling Stones, Stevie Wonder, Taj Mahal. He taught Ginger Baker how to play some drums. Now, Ginger Baker was already a huge drummer in Cream.
No joke. Yeah.
And then he went to Rocky Dijon and said, here, give me lessons.
You have to keep in mind the Isley Brothers. So early on, Ernie's a young boy, and they had a young guitarist in their band by the name of James Marshall Hendricks, who had lived with them for a while.
That's right.
You know, so growing up, being self-taught, Ernie being a self-taught guitarist along with Jimmy, but you're a kid, you're learning guitar, and in your home, hanging out is a guy who has a guitar glued to him, who
drinking your milk, eating your cereal.
Exactly. And you are absorbing because you're in his presence. And that's what Hendrix did all day and night. So time he opened his eyes, time he closed them, had a guitar in his hand. So he's taking this in, whether it's intentional or not, Ernie is. That is the dream.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking about the drums earlier on. the Isley brothers didn't have an official drummer. They would use session drummers and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. But Ernie Isley could play drums
Yes,
too.
because before the 3+3, when Ernie, Marvin, and Jasper were kids, they had a jazz trio going, and Ernie was the drummer in the jazz trio.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And okay, before I get on this tangent, I got to take it back to Prince. Okay, so you got a little kid in Minneapolis who hears this song and has his life changed. Okay, he hears this guitar come in, and when you brought up the drums, is why I had to say this. So you have the African beat going, that African
My
shuffle.
man Rocky Dijon on the congas.
Yep. So you got this little kid with a big fro in Minneapolis hearing this guitar, hearing this percussiveness, and it makes sense because two guitarists had a love child, Ernie Isley and Carlos Santana. His name would be Prince. Where would that influence come from? This song right there.
Very good.
Okay, I'm backing off now.
No, it's all good, man. I think we covered all the ground on this song. Huge hit, great way to start off the album. On a weaker album, probably wouldn't have been good to lead off with your hit single. But
Yes.
on an album this good, it's okay.
Yes, because with track 2, my friend, they kick it up a notch by taking it in an entirely different direction.
And let's talk about track 2, okay? Because this is a James Taylor cover song, Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight. And now on this album, out of 9 songs, 4 of them are cover songs.
Yeah.
Okay, and so usually we do our favorite song, least favorite song. We're going to do that, but we're also going to do our favorite cover and our least favorite cover at the end of the show. Okay, now look, man, if you listen to the original from James Taylor, it sounds like a James Taylor song sounds like. It sounds like Fire and Rain. What's another famous James Taylor song? Fire and Rain.
Fire and Rain.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, it sounds like that, right? Little guy playing guitar, trying to control his heroin habit. He's good. Trying to call up Carly Simon, see how she's doing. Anyway, what was it? It was Carly Simon.
Yeah, it was
right?
Carly Simon.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, but Isley said, "Look, we like that song. We like the words, but here, you just step back, James Taylor, because we are going to make this song so much better. We're going to add soul. We are going to add a little bit of funk to it, just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to still keep it reserved because Ernie's only playing the acoustic guitar here,
Yes.
but we're just going to give it soul. We're going to give it some blackness."
Mark me.
I'm
Hear
listening.
my words and mark me later. What the Isley brothers do with this album, they show that music and the influence of music is colorblind.
Yes.
And they also show what I appreciate. They are comfortable in their skin because
Good song's a good song, man.
yes, and I love the fact, even though back when this came out, the country may have still been segregated, the appreciation and love of music was not. And they demonstrate that.
And look, man, one of the first integrated portions of society was rock music. We saw when we talked about Sly and the Family Stone, right?
Yep.
Integrated rock band. I mean, it's coming along. And so this isn't even the first album they started doing big covers. They were covering Bob Dylan and Neil Young on previous albums.
And I love the fact that they were doing that.
Yeah, they're just like, look, we're going to take this song and reinterpret it the Isley way. Now that we got Ernie officially collecting the check as an official member and not just as our session guitarist.
And like I said, they're comfortable in their skin because they are a soul band.
Yep.
R&B flows through their veins. And they didn't try to fight it. They just said, hey, we like this song that we heard to the left, and we're going to grab it over here and take it to the right.
And not just that, man, but look, we're going to talk about each member as, they're featured. But for me, Ronald Isley, the lead vocalist, This is such a great vocal performance. There's a point, and I'm not even going to attempt to try and sing it. It's the point in the song where they talk about save your goodbyes. It's by far the best vocal performance in the song.
Where he hits the falsetto.
Yes,
yes.
But Ken, there's a roughness in there where it's like there's pain in his heart.
Yeah,
like he's singing his pain, but really all he's doing is interpreting a James Taylor song. But you feel like that's him pouring his heart out to you.
Yep.
Right? Not poor heroin addicted Carly Simon loving James Taylor.
Oh snap!
Right? I'm sorry, man. No, it's true. these are just common things that we all know. Anyway, let's move to song 3, man. This is another Isley's original song. It's called "If You Were There." Now, Ernie's still featured, but this is where I was talking about earlier. Where look, Ernie doesn't have to take over the show. It's there, but it's understated. He's adding his layer on without overwhelming the song and screaming, "I'm Ernie Isley." He doesn't have to.
Correct. What I dig about his playing, since he's on the acoustic on this song, now I don't know if he's playing open-handed or with a pick, but in this song, he's subtly, just tastefully digging in on the string to get that percussive pop. Right. When he throws that hook around in it. I like it.
Now, did you notice that this song has a clavinet playing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Which was, it sounds dated now, 47 years later.
Right.
But that was cutting edge.
And to be fair, until we talked about Sly and the Family Stone, I didn't even know a clavinet existed. But then it all made sense. I was like, that sounds like Stevie Wonder.
Imagine that.
Why does this sound like Stevie Wonder? Well, I can tell you why, because Wikipedia told me.
Intervision, same period of time.
Not just the same period of time. They were recording this at the same time Intervisions was being recorded.
Yep, same studio.
Okay, so it makes sense that they're hanging out with Stevie, and they're like, "Stevie, you're not going to see this anyway. We're just going to borrow this clavinet and take it to the studio next door. You won't miss it because you can't see it." Right? All right. They had it back. That man never knew it was gone. Yeah. Anyway.
It better have been in tune because he would notice that.
That's probably true. All right. But this is actually kind of crazy because we talked earlier that they didn't have an official drummer.
Yeah.
And the drummer for this album is a guy named George Moreland. But man, he's playing those drums. This song, you would never say it's a hard rock song, but it has a hard rock drive to the song with the drums.
Yeah.
And it's just another twist saying we're the Isley brothers. We're not weighed down by those Motown constraints. We can play a little bit. We can have fun with the song. We can construct it in unlikely ways that will grab you.
Yes.
And that's what this drummer did on this song, man.
And the other cool thing about this track, so track number 2, a James Taylor song.
Right.
And you're like, as we've been listening to this album, I'm not going to lie, I've been listening to this album every morning. I get up, I get ready for work. This is what I'm playing.
Right.
And I'm listening to it, and I know there's a James Taylor song on here, but if you don't pay attention, you can't tell what it is.
Right.
And as I began reading about the other members of the band, in particular Marvin and Jasper, and I realized, okay, both of them have music degrees.
Didn't know that.
Ernie, prolific songwriter.
Yep.
And of course, Ron, the fact they listen to other music. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense because James Taylor and the guys they cover, the blue-eyed soul people, if you will, or just the blue-eyed people. Leave it at that.
Right, keep going.
Their music, their sound, technically, they like the melodic minor sound.
Sure, it's soft rock.
And so the complexities with their changes, instead of just the simple 1-4-5 like you would with Twist and Shout, they evolved since then.
And I don't even think they wrote Twist and Shout because I don't think they had the clout to write their own songs at that time.
But again, a 1-4-5, this album definitely shows they evolved well beyond
absolutely.
That.
As songwriters and as interpreters
and
of music.
So for them to choose the blue-eyed songs that they did, it makes sense because that's what they were hearing. That's how their ear was developing. So
And
it's
they're
not a
saying,
far stretch.
ultimately, and they're saying, look, we can appreciate a good song, but we can write them too.
Yeah.
'Cause this is a good song.
Boom.
Yeah.
6 in one hand, half does the other. If they like it, if they want it, it's theirs. It's their world.
Well, let's talk about good songs. Actually, scratch that. Let's talk about great songs. Song number 4, side 1, You Walk Your Way. Ken, in my life at this age, there is nothing better than a 1970s soul song. My God, this is my favorite song on the album. Another Isley Brothers original. I can't imagine why they didn't release it as a single. Should have been a hit song. It gets me in the feels, man. It stabs my heart a little bit. Because ultimately, this song is the Isley Brothers going to church. We heard it, Gladys go to church. This is the Isleys going to church.
You know, Will, as soon as you said the title of the track, it started playing in my head, and that group, you could move to it. And as you said, they're going to church. This song will inspire / press you forward. You can't hear this song, listen to it. You can't think about this song without moving to it.
Right, and you're swaying. When
Yeah.
you're swaying, you're raising your hands, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Because it just, man, look, this song, you hear them keys, those keys, the piano, it's played by Chris Jasper, an official member of the group.
Yep.
Okay. Now they actually had another session musician playing the organ.
Yeah.
You know, the church organ, but he's playing the piano and the keys. I didn't know this, man. He was writing the majority of the Isley Brothers music, at least, partially throughout their whole hit making period when he was with the band.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that, man.
And it makes sense for, like I said, for his chordal ear, having that expansion. And plus, Juilliard grad.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Studied with Dr. Billy Taylor.
I have no idea who
Yeah,
Dr. Billy Taylor
he's a
is.
jazz pianist who was a monster, a beast in his day. And he was fortunate enough to have Nat King Cole show him a thing or two as he was coming
Okay.
up.
And when I first said, okay, I'm going to listen to an Isley Brothers album, because you and I said, look, well, if Ernie Isley's so great, he can do a whole album of greatness, right? Because it was kind of like, and to be fair, neither of us at the time had listened to entire Isley Brothers albums.
True. Just greatest hits albums.
So I said, well, this one has a big hit. Check. We'll check off that. Okay. But it's also the first album that Ernie Isley officially joins the band.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who knew?
Yeah.
Right?
That
But-
could do no wrong.
Okay. You sold me on Ernie Isley, but then throughout this whole album, I'm listening to the keys and I'm like, wait a minute. That keyboard sound, whether it's the Moog synthesizer, the clavinet, the piano, that's just as important to the Isley Brothers sound as
absolutely.
Ernie Isley's guitar and Ronald's voice.
Oh, yeah. It was the perfect storm of players, if you will.
Yeah.
Dream team.
No, you're right. And look, I know Rudolph and O'Kelly have been with him from the beginning. They are the Isley Brothers, the original
Yep.
3. And they are so lucky to collect the check. Because if Ronald said, I want to just be Ronald Isley, and I'm sure he's probably ventured into some solo territory,
Yeah.
but look, man, he's the talent. And they're just like, yep, keep signing them checks. We're happy to sing the doo-doo-doos and the wah-wah-wahs for you. Because, look, they go to church with them here. They're doing a lot of background vocals. They're keeping up. But, my God, what a great job where all you got to do is repeat the last verse that your lead singer sang
That your
to
brother
you
just
and
sang.
smile as that money keeps rolling in. That's how I feel about O'Kelly and Rudolph here, man. Like, come on. Like, it's not like with Gladys Knight where she gave the Pips some like lead songs on the album. They're just like, nope, you're good, Ronald. We're good over here in the corner. You keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, by far one of my favorite songs, man. Just The thing I love about this, because it was never released as a single, it wasn't a hit. It's one of those songs when you're listening to an album for the first time where you can say, yep, I found that deep cut that nobody's ever heard before that I can appreciate and call my own. Because unless you've been listening to this album your whole life, it's a song nobody's ever heard.
True.
Right?
No, you're spot on, brother.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the last song, another cover. And this cover is a cover by the Doobie Brothers. Listen to the music. Right?
Man. First off.
Talk to me.
Okay. You got your vinyl. This is your last track. If you want them to turn the album over to keep listening, bam, this is the song to do it with. And also, in my head, I see the Doobie Brothers, and they're proud of what they created. They have this song.
It's a great song.
And I loved this song growing up.
My second favorite Doobie Brothers song.
Yes. And then I heard this one. And so I see the Doobie Brothers all happy and excited because they wrote this song and they got funky with it. And then I see the Isley Brothers say, hey, excuse me, can I borrow that song for a little bit? And they're like, yeah. Well, we're going to take it and put some funk to it. They're like, but we already put funk to it. No,
that's not funk, man.
But we like what you did. Here, check this out. And it's like, oh.
So look, I like both versions. I love both versions.
Yes.
Okay. And so when I listen to this in the original, they both have that shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, they're both moving you along. But then when the Isley say, hey, we're going to put this whole dose of Stevie Wonder and Sly Stone and James Brown funk on it, we're going to make it ours. Because it's the same melody.
Yeah. I know.
Same lyrics.
Yeah.
It's not the same song. Look, when I heard this, man, I was like, I can't see Sanford and Son playing the Doobie Brothers version, but I can see them playing the Isley Brothers version all day long.
Yeah. This song is like, so Thanksgiving, I love the turkey. But then one year, I had a fried turkey. And I'm like, oh, snap. How do you take what I like and crank it up to 10? And that's what this song is.
Hey, you know, we were talking about Stevie Wonder and I was kind of making fun of him earlier. I love Stevie Wonder. We're definitely doing a Stevie Wonder album.
Absolutely.
But you notice how this has that superstitious vibe on it? With that clavinet?
And that was the groove back then, man.
And what I love is that, okay, so they're saying, okay, we're going to take a little bit of Stevie here, right? And any band that has a little bit of funk like they do is going to put some Sly into it because the one. But man, you listen to Ernie kind of growl on some of these verses because Ernie's known for that sweet voice.
Yeah.
Right? He has that growl like Otis. Like, we're going to get a little bit dirty.
Ernie or Ron?
Ronald, whatever, man.
They're brothers. It's like the parent.
Yeah, you gotta
call say a name. I
was like,
but
Ernie,
you better...
Ernie. No, Ronald, of course. Yeah, Ronald was like growling a little bit in the song, and I just said, man, that makes me think of Otis. I'm not saying they sound alike.
No, yeah,
it's just the spirit,
the raw.
Yeah, and so you know, the Doobies keep it guitar driven, and if the Isleys wanted to, they got Ernie right there.
Yeah,
and I mean Ernie.
Yeah,
they have Ernie right there. They could have torn it up on the guitar. They said, no, we're going to keep it funky. And to sum this up, I describe it this way. The Doobies Brother version is what white people do when they're driving down the highway in a convertible. They crank up the Doobies version, right? The Isleys version is when you want every single person in a club to get on the dance floor and shake that thing.
Fair enough.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
Okay.
You got that.
You have anything else to say about this cover before we wrap up side one?
If you have not heard it, you need to stop what you're doing right now and listen to it. And I promise you, you'll listen to it 3 times.
Yeah, please, because the first time, right?
Yep.
The first time you're going to say, I don't know how I feel about this,
but,
you know, the way they changed the song I've heard my whole life. Then the second time you listen, you're going to be like, did I really just hear what I heard? And then the third time, that light bulb's going to go off in your head, and you're going to be like, oh, this is why the Isleys are so great.
Yeah, and how did I live this long without listening to this?
And everybody should listen to this when they get a chance. That's a fact. So anyway, Ken, let's flip it over and let's go to side 2. Song number 6, song number 1 on the album.
Yep.
What It Comes Down To. This is another Isley Brothers original track.
Yes.
And this might be my second favorite song on the entire album. Okay?
Okay.
Because it comes blasting in with that funky Ernie riff. And who did that riff remind you of, King?
Oh, I'd say his mentor, his childhood mentor.
For me, it reminded me of Sly and the Family Stone. You hear that?
Yeah.
Because that sounded like straight up Sly and the Family Stone circa 1968.
No. When you have a big pot of gumbo and just influences and talent that's pumping on the radio, everyone listens to the radio. Same way everyone holds an answer box in their hand now. Everyone's listening to radio. So every great thing that is getting spun, everyone else is hearing. And so that's why their games are so tight, and they're just cranking out albums and the prolificness. Sorry, I'm getting excited thinking about that.
Keep going.
You know, because again, when we talked about Sly and the Family Stone, we mentioned how Sly and the Family Stone were a game changer and how much of an influence they were when they came out, to where people were like, wow, I need some of that in my life. I need to put a little bit of that seasoning into what I'm cooking.
No, you're right, because this became popular as Sly and the Family Stone's popularity was fading.
Declined, yep.
So they're
Say no to
almost like
drugs,
the
kids.
spiritual successor to that sound, or
Yeah.
to that vibe.
Yeah,
Because Isley's got their own sound.
yeah.
Okay,
And you're right, the vibe.
it's that vibe, man. And look, this song has that upbeat chugging sound, and it's Marvin Isley on the bass, man. And
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about him because this isn't one of those albums like say for instance Duran Duran, where the bass just
John
overwhelms
in your-
you because
yeah.
you're like, oh my god, I didn't realize that. Or Larry Graham, oh my god. No, he's another guy. I play my part. I'm gonna be featured when I need to be. I'm gonna lay back and do what I need to do to get through the song when it's called for.
Yeah. I'm going to be solid until you tell me to shine.
Right. And look, these guys, Chris Jasper, Marvin, and Ernie, they're not stupid, man. They know that, you know, the older brothers, this is their group. And they're finally letting them be official members. They're not going to try and show them up. They're going to say, look, we're going to stay in our groove. We're going to be featured. We're good. We're family. We're going to build this thing together or continue what has been built.
Yeah. And plus, this is a studio album.
Right.
Now, I bet if we saw them live back in the day, oh, yeah, they're like, oh, you already bought the ticket? Hey, Ernie, go on, kick the door open.
Right.
Hey, Marvin, you want some?
Now, like I said, man, this is like my second favorite song on the album. I'm not saying this song could have been a hit, but I'm kind of bothered by the title, What It Comes Down To, because it's not a title you're instantly going to remember.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming? You're going to remember the
that.
sound, but until you hear it 30 or 40 times, like, who's that lady? Dude, instant, right?
True.
Okay, Midnight Train to Georgia, instant. You know?
Now, in their defense, they're also prolific songwriters.
Right.
So they're cranking out songs, and the title, it needs a name, you know. So it's like, hey, we're not going to sweat. We have hundreds of children. Billy, Bob, Sue, and y'all aren't getting great names. Not all of you.
And look, man, we haven't really talked about the lyrics and the meaning of these songs, and for good reason, man, because that's not really the Isley Brothers' forte. They're not Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm not saying that they can't make a socially conscious song, but it's not what they're known for. They're known for that sweet voice. Ernie comes in and that tone on the guitar, and for writing catchy songs.
Yeah, and evoking feelings.
That's right. And so, and that's okay, man. Let's move on to the second song on side 2. This is another cover. Now, the original song was a soft rock, country-esque acoustic song by a guy named Jonathan Edwards, and the song is Sunshine Go Away Today. What'd you think of this cover?
I loved it.
Wow. I am shocked. Keep going. Explain why you loved it.
I loved it because it's a complete, I don't say complete 180, but because they did like they did with the other covers on this album. They said, hey, that's a nice song, Jonathan. Do you mind if I take that and inject some Isley into it? And then show it back to him. It's like, oh, wow, you did that with my song? You know what? I'm just going to step out the way.
Oh, they definitely made the song theirs. Look, here's my issue with the song. Individually, I like every part of this song.
Okay.
From the performers, from the musicians.
Yeah.
Great Ernie lick. Okay, Ernie's, like I say Ernie lick. Ernie's licking that guitar, right? No, Ernie is playing that guitar. Great vocal. Because Ronald Isley is one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Okay?
Yeah.
Marvin started off with that deep Marvin Isley bass groove. Great. Problem is, I just don't like the song.
But that's the beauty, because this song originally, that doesn't blow my skirt up.
No, but I'm saying, like, I don't like the melody. Like, sunshine go away today.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Isley singing or whether it's Jonathan Edwards singing.
I get you.
I appreciate the performance. I just don't want to hear the song. I wish they did all of that great stuff on another song.
Just a completely different
like,
song.
Hey, listen to the music. They did all the stuff that we're talking about, all those great, neat things, but to a song I like.
I agree with you on it, but I appreciate, okay, let me put it like that. I appreciate the fact that they took a song that I don't really care for. And
they made you care for it.
Yeah.
That's
they took
great.
it. I wouldn't listen to this song if you'd paid me to.
No offense to Jonathan Edwards.
Yeah, not the Jonathan Edwards, but until they put their hands on the Isleys, yeah.
You're going to make your kids listen to it in the car.
And then one day they'll hear the Jonathan Edwards and be like, what happened?
I need to turn this off.
Like, who stripped that song down?
Hey, man, look, I appreciate the Isley's talent. And this isn't even the last cover song we're going to talk about today.
But again, they just reached out. Their musical taste go outside the definition and outside their genre.
Yeah,
I love it.
And that Jonathan Edwards song, just like the other two songs we talked about, huge hit. This was a huge hit, in the 70s, top 10 hit. So they took something that was popular and made it their own.
Yep.
And I respect them for that. Like I said, I'm just not a fan of the melody itself.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I feel you.
All right, let's move on to the next song. And this is the last cover on the song.
Yep.
But this was a single for them. They said, look, we already know the original's a #1 hit.
Yeah,
by Sills and
the year
Croft.
before. Yeah.
All right, and this is Summer Breeze. But they said, while the original has that yacht rock vibe, right? Said, it's all over radio in 1972. But you know what? There's no funk in that original. There's no soul. We're going to give it some soul. That's what they did, right? Because look, that original version, not only was it played probably all over the radio in 1972, it was played on like oldies radio for the next 30 years, man, especially in the Midwest where I'm from.
Oh, man, yeah. It got a lot of this song here,
now,
the original Sills.
To the Isley's credit, in America, not a hit. The UK, another top 20 hit, man. So give the Isleys props.
Yeah.
They made it their own in the UK. And so, you know how I said I love the intro, but I'm not a fan of the song for Sunshine Go Away?
Yeah.
For here, I'm the opposite. I don't like the way they did that intro. It's just kind of unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once all the layers come through and the entire band's playing together, oh my God.
It's money. Right.
It's money.
There.
Yeah, once all the instruments start blasting, just loving it. More Ernie Isley goodness. Dude, that guitar solo that he ended this song with. Might be the best solo on the album. I don't know. Who's that lady? He's a tour de force.
Yeah.
This guitar solo, Ernie is ripping it up. Talk
Yeah.
about this, man.
Man, he lays back into it. I saw, wow, back in the 90s, they did a live performance on television. And it was as though you were, one, sitting there, two, you were feeling every note that he played, as though he was holding you and squeezing life into you.
Now think about that. As you say that, the original version, 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
This one, hey, let's make this a 6-minute song, just so we can let that freak flag fly, man. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They said, not only are we going to let our freak flag fly, but we're going to give it to our people across the pond and make it a hit.
Yeah. I love it.
Dude, here's the thing, man. Because compared to the original, talked about Ronald so much. This album. Hardly talked about Rudolph and O'Kelly, but that's okay. They're just there smiling. But
Hey.
dude, there's a groove here in Ronald's voice that Seals and Croft could only
Dream.
hope
Yes.
that they could imitate.
And having the original Seals and Croft played ad nauseum as we in our life, I never get tired of hearing the Isleys. And Rudolph and O'Kelly, to their credit, the harmonies that they add throughout. Case in point, take a song where, yeah, I think I've heard this song enough in this life to make me want to say, oh, okay, yeah, I think I'll listen to this one another 5 million times if I can listen to this version.
Yeah. And funnily enough, Ken, is funnily? That's not even.
But funnily is now.
This is the only song on the album where I look at the lyrics and I'm like, oh, these lyrics are different. Like, you knew Sills and Croft were high when they were singing this song. I mean, summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. What are they talking about?
Yeah.
You know, it's a little hippie-ish flower power.
Yeah,
right there.
very hippie.
My favorite line, see the smile waiting in the kitchen, food cooking in the plates for two, right? Because look, man, I've had
The
feast and
munchies.
famine, man. You know, I've been with people who can cook and people who don't cook.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever I see cooking in a song, I'm like,
Oh.
I like it when people cook.
Yes, because I love to eat.
Because I remember not being able to eat food from someone who cooked. Just one of those things, man.
Yep.
It's just little lyrics like that, you know. But to be fair, I remember those lyrics from the original.
Yeah.
But then having Ronald sing it,
Yeah.
it just brings a little bit different. You know, it's like grits ain't no groceries.
Yeah.
Right? Grits ain't groceries. Right? You remember that old
Yep.
soul song? Yeah. So anyway, to me, another great cover song. Okay. This one is the cover where all of them, they make the run on this album, right?
Yes.
The James Taylor song, the Doob song, Jonathan
Yep.
Edwards, this one.
Yep.
All of them become Isley Brothers songs. But this is the one where they let loose and kind of go off the reservation, so to speak,
Yeah.
to see what they can explore, while retaining that melody and those instantly recognizable hooks that the original also delivered.
Yep. You are correct.
Hey, man, we only got one song left from this great album.
Yes.
And they made it an original song.
As they should. And that was a great choice.
And this was another top 40 hit in the UK. And the song I'm talking about, last song on the album, The Highways of My Life. And this one made it to 25 in the UK. Okay? So
Yeah.
three UK hits, one album. All right, not again in America. They had "Who's That Lady" was the big hit. That was it. Okay, look, man, this song, great, powerful ballad. You know, I'm surprised it wasn't a hit in the USA.
Yeah. No, so am I.
Okay, and we talked about the clavinet and that Stevie Wonder influence, but man, you hear that Moog synthesizer, 1974, and you're like, yep, that was on every other album in that year.
Yeah, like I said, man, it sounds dated now, but it was cutting edge back then.
You know, and look, man, anytime you put the word highway in a song, I'm not saying I'm going to like that song.
But you're going to give it a listen.
I'm going to give it a listen, man, because you know I like to do a lot of traveling, a lot of driving
Yeah.
on the highway. I drive all over the country, sometimes with my kids, sometimes with friends, sometimes by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for driving music. Now, the thing about this song is when I hear this song, to me, those highways of my life, it's not really talking about the road, although it could be because they're touring musicians. It's just talking about the journey of life.
Yeah.
Man.
And from the first line, let's see if we got the lyrics.
Moving down the highways of my life, making sure I stay to the right.
To the right. And again, when I hear, well, the first time I heard the song and I see the title, and I'm like, yeah, not necessarily thinking about literally driving on the road, but I'm thinking about moving through life. And it's as though he's reflecting, you know.
Well, because it starts off with him literally talking about the road. It's not till you get down deeper down in the words, leaving all the sorrows and the pain. There's no love between us that remains.
Yeah, and staying to the right, being all right. I started my life, and I'm trying to do it the correct way and follow.
That's right.
The correct path. Life happens.
And to me, songs like that, I'll always take a song like that to end an album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like wrap it all up, put a little bow on it, and say, this is the song that you're going to remember when you take that needle off the record, when that tape stops playing, when the CD starts to flip to the first track. Let's remember that last song. Hit it. And let's make it an original.
Yeah. And I hear it. Same thought along the same way. Big party, starts off song one, track one, and it's just pumping and going the whole way through. And then the end of the night in the party, like, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We appreciate y'all showing up, have a good time with us. Want you to get home safe and remember us.
Yeah, and here's the reality, man. That song is a ballad. Okay, and I was thinking about this. You know, if the Isley brothers wanted to, they could be a great power pop band.
Yeah, they could do what they want.
Yeah, right. They chose soul, R&B, funk, and they had huge success in the 70s when they reinvented themselves after having huge success in the 60s. Okay, but then I think about like these songs, these ballads, love songs, and I'm like, wow, that was an original that was effortless. For any other band could have been a big hit. I say that if they would have really pushed it, be a big hit. But instead, we're going to have something that just reinvents the way you want to hear the guitar, that lady, right?
Yeah.
That becomes the big hit. And so let's look at this album, Ken, because I don't think side 2 really falls off the way that Gladys Knight's Imagination falls off. I think it dips and curves. It doesn't have the consistent highs that Gladys Knight has back to back to back to back.
Okay.
But it doesn't really just fall off a cliff at points like that second side of the Gladys album.
You're right. This one maintains the ride as far as you have your hills, your peaks, your valleys, your curves.
But the valleys aren't as low and the peaks aren't as high.
Yeah.
They can be, depending. Yeah.
Just enough to keep it interesting.
Right.
And also, I think, because I wasn't there, but being that they were a family and organic band, I would say their strength would be in live performance.
I gotta look for some Isley Brothers live performances online.
Yeah. So do I now. From this era, back in the mid 70s, because I would say they were probably a lot more of a jam band if you were there, to where they would open up and let these songs cook.
Well, you know what? Let's hurry up. Let's give our least favorite and favorite songs.
So we can go and
So we're going to go
live
on YouTube and find these live performances. So what's your favorite song on the album?
I'm not going to say that lady, because that would be blatantly obvious, being a guitarist. But I will say, You Walk Your Way.
Oh, without a doubt, by far, when the Isley brothers go to church, because that's my favorite kind of R&B. When they go to church, when Gladys goes to church, Otis goes to church, the Shy Lights go to church. I'm all there. I'm open arms, open ears, man. Okay, so I'm the same way. You Walk Your Way. That's my favorite song. Least favorite song on the album.
Ooh, yeah. I know. Original or cover?
Original, man. We're going to get to the covers in a second.
Okay, want to make sure that I'm still on that same page.
Actually, just period.
Period. Sunshine Go Away.
You're the one who said that you love the song.
I love the song, but I still have to. Hey, man, I still have to pick the Ugly Girl, Destiny's Child here.
Okay, that's my least favorite song, also. So I'm guessing that's also your least favorite cover.
Yes.
What's your favorite cover on the album?
Yeah, I'm still gonna stick with it. Not gonna say listen to the music because I do love that one so much, but I love what they did with the James Taylor song.
Really?
Because it doesn't sound like a James Taylor song because they took it so you gotta understand, I appreciate James Taylor. I'm not a James Taylor fan.
I'm not a James Taylor fan either.
And the fact that they just took a big dish of something I would never order and served it up to me as though I cannot get enough of it.
It's so weird because you're a Carole King fan for whatever reason. So
because she's the greatest songwriter.
Okay. Anyway, look, my favorite cover is Listen to the Music.
Yeah.
Because I love that one about as much as I love the original. So having said that, let us know in the comments what your favorite song is from the album. Let us know what your experience with the Isley Brothers is. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more shows, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more of our program, I guess. Ken, we're out. Let's go to YouTube and look for a live performance.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Peace.